Hey guys, this is Mr.S here, and welcome back to another video, baby. And right now, I'll be reacting to Percocet Edition Part 1 by my dad, the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Chastney. This is about the time that he was on Percocet in the 2000s and early 2010s. Let's go.
My mother was on drugs. My father was on drugs. They both were addicted to crack in the 80s. I don't know if it was one of them or both of them, but somebody had an addictive personality. And some may say, it's genetics, right? If your parents are on drugs, then it's a good chance you may be on drugs. You would never.
I heard about that one time, but someone says if your parents were on drugs before, you might go on drugs. But I don't think it took them longer to stop being on drugs than it took for my dad to stop being on drugs because it only took him like 10 to 15. I don't know how long it took them to stop being on drugs, but I feel like it was shorter for my dad to stop being on drugs than them.
know. I never know. But I think for me, I remember, my father, giving me a cup of the beer and letting me sip some beer. It wasn't harmful, right? Back then, I don't think the awareness was at an all-time high. Like nobody looked at you like you was crazy if you let your child take a sip of wine or a sip of beer.
That's way different right now because if you let your kid take a sip of beer right now, I think you would get arrested right now. It was I, I feel like the world got more, how can I explain it, weaker now than from before, like the 1900s, the 1980s, 70s, and 60s, 90s back then.
But I rarely can remember or seen a parent or guardian letting their child drink liquor or take a sip of the liquor. I think it was just a little bit too hard, probably. And it wasn't no harm in it. Nobody never looked at anybody and say you're neglecting the child. It was just something like, you're the parent and you know what you're doing. Mind your business. Keep it moving. As I got older, I started to see like ads and like billboards of like people smoking cigarettes, and I remember how they used to promote cigarettes, man. Like I'm talking about like really promote cigarettes like it's the cool thing to do. um Commercials, they promoted beer. I remember seeing cool, what's his name, smooth Billy D, like promoting 40s, Coke 45s. I remember seeing people with Sellums and Newports on billboards and
Now, now the only place I see smoke cigarettes at the deli. That's the only place I see them, and there's someone smoking them. I don't see them that much anymore than from back then.
commercials. And when you seen a person smoke, it seemed like that was the coolest thing to do. And between my sixth grade and eighth grade years, right, it was like, I don't know if it was a learned behavior, if it was just curiosity, or if it was peer pressure. Maybe it was all three of them. Because it was definitely like put in our face. As a child, you would see it on commercials, you would see it on billboards, and you would see your parents do it. As a child, your parents will let you take a sip of the beer or let you take a sip of the wine. And then when you see your peers doing it, it's like, why not? So it had to be a mixture of both. And I would drink liquor, I would drink beer. We would get the beer, like it would be a guy. We would call them junkies, and they would be sitting next to the deli. We give them 50 cent. Yo, get us a beer, and then we're paying 50 cent. Um, yo, go get us. I smoke a little bit of weed. Yo, go. We tell somebody older, yo, can you get us a wrap? Can you get us a Philly? And they do it for us, and it's crazy, but it was that simple.
Times change now where you cannot. if you ask someone for for them to buy you like some cigarettes or like a beer or wine from the deli, they might have got they will get arrested. Right? Oh, they will be arrested nowadays.
back in the day. So I smoke some cigarettes every now and then. I smoke weed every now and then. And I drink. I drink, like I said, I drink wine. I drink beer. Between sixth and eighth grade, I go to school high. I come home high. But it wasn't an everyday thing. I think between ninth and 12th grade is when I slowed down and then I completely stopped the cigarettes and the weed. I was becoming an athlete, playing basketball, swimming, and as I got older, I felt like it wasn't one of those cool things to do. Like, oh, you smoke. Like, I felt like I was too cool to smoke cigarettes and smoke weed. Like, nah, I'm just too cool for that. Like, everybody gonna be looking at me. Like, nah. But I did continue to drink. And that felt like the cool thing to do. 16, 17, 18, I looked a little bit older than what my age. And I'm dealing with older women, that's like 3 years older than me. I'm going to these spots where you can, to the bar, I'm dancing. I fit right in. I didn't do it every day. I didn't do it every weekend. But
Wow, he was at the bar and he was like in sixth to eighth grade, still drinking wine, still drinking beer, dancing, drinking at the bar, and nobody noticed his age, which is crazy. Wow. Now, now the people ask for your ID. I think they did that back in the day. But if he got in the bar that young, I bet they didn't ask for their ID back then.
at times it was like recreational. So I left the cigarettes alone. I left the weed alone. And I continued to drink. And sometimes I think about this like this could have been the start of my addiction. Some people may say this was the start of your addiction between the ages of 10 and 18. That was the start of your addiction. And this is part one. Part one, the start and the end of B McFly addiction. Thanks for tuning in. Be ready for part two.
Wow, that was crazy. How back then where like you can go to the bar and go go to the bar and like stuff like that and like go to the bar and stuff to get a drink and nobody even knows your age and they didn't even think that you were like underage for the bar because you looked older than usual. I wonder if they like told them pull out your ID. I wonder if you had to pull out your ID before you had to go in the bar. Because if they didn't, times has changed a long time. All right, this is sincere, aka Mr.S vlogs here, and I'm heading out. Peace.